Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be changing the brake fluid on a 2002 to 2006 Honda CR-V. This one here is going to be a 2006, but pretty much any Honda CR-V is going to be a similar process. Most of the Accords and Civics are going to be similar too. Anything with this 2.4 or 2-liter VTEC engine is going to be pretty close. You can follow these instructions also for most other vehicles, but specifically we're doing a 2006 CR-V LX today. So your brake fluid reservoir is going to be up here. You just pull this cap off. Generally, every couple years or so, when you pop this guy open, you're gonna have fluid that's gonna be dark in color, kind of red or black. I've already drained and filled this reservoir. So this is what we're looking for with fresh fluid. If you pull it off and it looks like that, put it back on, it's fine. Today, we're gonna be flushing it out with some just generic O'Reilly's .3. You can use Honda OEM. It's gonna cost you a couple dollars more. I don't really care. This car has 250,000 miles on it. So I'm also using a Pittsburgh brake bleed and vacuum pump kit. These are about $24 after tax. I would highly recommend it. You're not going to have a second person to do it if you have one of these. Also, only tool I'm going to need today besides just the stock jack and lug wrench is going to be just a 10mm wrench. Again, Harbor Freight, 10 bucks. Just some safety stuff first. Wear gloves. Brake fluid is corrosive. You don't really want to get it on your skin. You don't want to get it on other plastic. You see I got a couple little drips here and there. I'll try to clean those up. This stuff is not good for you. So the order you're going to want to do the brake flush on this vehicle, most vehicles, is going to be starting from the back right, moving to the back left, doing the passenger right, and then the driver's side front. So the reason you're going to do this is because the reservoir is up on the front right, and that's going to be the longest brake line leads to that back corner. So you're going to start there, across this side, and then to the reservoir side of the front eventually. Now I've already done the back right, so I'm going to start on the back left. I'm going to get this tire off and I'm going to show you what we're working with here. All right, wheel is off. The bleeder screw is going to be under this little nipple here. You're going to pull this little rubber cover off. Keep that handy, don't lose that. This is going to be the actual bleed valve, and this is where your 10mm wrench is going to fit. Okay, so stick that guy on there. You might want to spray this down with some penetrant before you get into it. I have it hosed down a couple days ago with a little bit of liquid wrench. So we're going to see if we can do this one-handed. I've got my 10mm wrench on there, fitting for the line. I have that running down. Make sure you have the internal tube running in there and a little bit of fluid in this reservoir. That's going to keep air from going back into the system. I usually like to crank this down to about 17-18 pounds. Make sure this does not go all the way down while you have your bleed valve open, because that can let air back into the system. So we're going to try to get this on video here. So you're going to pull, watch the pressure, watch the pressure, watch the pressure. As soon as it gets down to about 10, I like to close it up. Okay. And you can see all the fluid that we've now pulled into the system. We're gonna pump it back up here, and you'll see some of the air kind of getting trapped out of there. Once again, about 18 PSI. Crack the valve, and you'll see the fluid build up in there. Let it get down to, I'm gonna run it about 12 this time. Okay, close, and we're gonna check it up at the hood. Okay, so as you bleed these brakes, you're gonna see the fluid level in the reservoir go down. Just make sure that's topped up every once in a while. There is a little drop-in filter in here. Yours is probably full of junk if you're replacing the fluid. Just make sure you pull that out and clean it out. All right, so once you've done that a couple times and the fluid's coming out clear, this one, like I said, I had already done a little bit of work on, so it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna pull that line off. Make sure this valve is all the way closed, nice and tight, and you're gonna pull that vacuum line off. And your wrench, don't forget to put the little nipple back on the actual valve itself. All right, couple little optionals if you have some free time. Just while you have the wheel and tire off, I'm gonna put some silicone lubricant on my bushings. So that's gonna be a couple in here that I'm gonna hose down. I'm gonna clean my brakes off with some brake clean, just because they are a little crusty. And then I'm actually going to coat this wheel well up with some fluid film. This is basically like a clear undercoating. It's a rust preventative. I don't live anywhere where there's rust, but I'm going to do this just while I have the wheel off. Make sure if you're using this stuff that you put something over your rotor. You really don't want to get this on your brakes. It'll burn and it smells awful already. I'm assuming when it's burning it smells worse. All right, fluid film is in, brakes are clean. To put a little bit of silicone lubricant on all these moving bits here. Just an extra step, but while you have the wheel off, I would recommend it. All right, wheel is back on, lugs are now torqued up. Last thing to do here, just make sure your reservoir here is topped up right about that filter line. Any higher than that will be a little too much. It's got a max line right here. That's a good reference for you. Same process on all four corners. Just make sure you're filling up as you go so you don't introduce any extra air into the system. Last thing with these, I always just inspect these to make sure it's not too ripped up on this seal here. If it is, I'd replace it. This one's probably going to get replaced because you can see the pitting in it.